All right. And we're back. This is Hook and Ladder. This is playoff, first round of the playoff week. And I guess we'll get started and start talking about this Notre Dame-Indiana game. Notre Dame knocked off Indiana 27-17 in a pretty dominant performance.
Yeah, it wasn't even that close. That score wasn't indicative of how this game went. Notre Dame out-physicaled them, bullied them the entire game, offensively, defensively, lines of scrimmage. I'm not going to get into the whole, well, that just shows Indiana doesn't deserve to be there. I'm not going to go down that road. I think we all kind of know whether college football fans want, certain college football fans of certain conferences want to admit it or not. There are three teams really sitting at home from the Southeastern Conference that I'm not going to say should have been there because I don't think they should have been there. I mean, you win 11 games, number 10 in the country.
Had a right to be there.
You lose to Ohio State. It's your only loss. You have a right to be there. Yeah. But there are three teams in the Southeastern Conference that are a better football team than Indiana is. So I think everybody kind of had Notre Dame in this game. I think everybody saw what Indiana was against Ohio State. They saw that late in the game, Indiana slowed the pace down and ran the football to end the game so Ohio State wouldn't score again. Okay? And I know Ohio State had a block punt. They had some special team scores. And one of my good buddies said that, at halftime it was looking like it could have been ugly. Could have been a dogfight without those scores. But you know what? Those things happen. So... but getting back to this game, there were a few things that kind of stood out to me. The lack of speed, in my opinion, with Indiana's running backs going sideline to sideline. Anything that they tried to get out wide, Notre Dame was sniffing out. And I know that Notre Dame's defense is good. I think that they looked better playing Indiana's team.
I do too.
And, I don't want to take anything away from Indiana. They had 11 games this year, all right? Good for them.
Yeah.
Great season. Nothing to hang your head about, but Notre Dame was clearly the better team.
And Notre Dame gets a top 10 win at home in the playoffs.
Yep, first playoff win in history of the 12-team expanded playoff, I guess you call it. And, Jeremiah Love had a 98-yard touchdown where he just outran everybody. Indiana had one of the best rush defenses in the country, but you can kind of look at the schedule, see who they played, and be like, wait till they play somebody decent, and look what happened to them. The two good teams they played smoked them both times. I thought Notre Dame looked good offensively. They didn't look like they can do what they did to some of the better teams. Right. The teams we'll talk about in just a few minutes, pretty much all of them, even the teams that lost, I felt would have put up a better showing than Indiana would. I'm curious to see what Notre Dame can do if they've got to keep pace with somebody. Offensively, I don't know if they can do that, but their defense is really good. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But, good for them. Didn't think Freeman kind of had an attitude a good bit of the game and the whole icy cold handshake there at the end. I don't know what's going on with the two of those schools, if something's going on with the coaches or Marcus Freeman's just an asshole. I'm not really sure which.
Just the battle for Indiana.
Yeah.
Well, moving right along, we got Clemson Texas knocked off Clemson 38-24. Probably the better game of the weekend of all four.
Easily the best game of the playoffs so far. I expected Clemson to get beat pretty good. I expected them to lose by 14, and they pretty much did. But I expected their run defense to be a little bit better. Jaden Blue had a huge game, as did the other kid, number 26. Had a really nice game running the football. Were able to pretty much do whatever they wanted to on the ground. Klubnik had a great game. Played one of his best games of his career. Clemson came to fight offensively. Defensively, they just didn't have it. Offense led them back in the game. I think they were down by 7. And then Blue has like a 70-yard touchdown run to kind of ice it.
They were calling back there for a second and then...
Yeah, like I said, I thought their offense played well enough to win the game. The defense just couldn't stop Texas. And, give credit to Texas. They played well. Offense was humming, especially that run game, like I mentioned. But, it kind of went the way I kind of thought it was going to go. It went the way I thought it was going to go, but I thought Texas would make the hay throwing the football, not running it. But either way, they won by 14, which was basically what I predicted.
Penn State knocked off number 11 SMU 38-10, and this was a Kevin Jennings meltdown.
Yes, this is the one game of the 4 that I got wrong in my picks, and I picked Penn State to win, but I thought it was going to be a hell of a lot closer. I figured SMU, out of the 2 Southern teams, them and Tennessee, that had to go to the North to play, I didn't think Tennessee was going to have an issue. It was freaking freezing cold in Knoxville anyway, and I thought SMU might have a problem. But it was nice. It was sunny. I mean, it was cold, but it was sunny. It didn't really look like an issue, although the announcers kind of made it like an issue. They were playing, SMU is the one playing like it's cold weather and Penn State's not. But honestly, I thought SMU played well, other than the fact that Kevin Jennings had a massive meltdown. 2 pick sixes in the first half. The one time he led them down the field to try to score a touchdown, he threw a pick inside the 10-yard line. And that's 3 right there, first half. And I think at the time it was 14-0. And then Penn State went and scored a touchdown. Eventually it was 28-0 at the half, 28-3 or something at the half. Just bad game. There was plays to be made. I thought Penn State's offense really didn't do a whole lot.
They didn't. There was a 4th down in their own territory. They went for it, give the ball back to SMU. And then he goes and throws
a pick, yeah.
It's just like they gave the game away.
Yeah, and I think by the time the second half rolled around, that third and fourth quarter, I think SMU wasn't into it, and Penn State was able to make some hay, moving the football and scoring some points. But that first half, it was basically Penn State's defense,
making plays
and shutting down SMU, and it really wasn't anything Penn State's offense did. No. So I'm a little concerned for them going into the game, the next round, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Moving right
I still don't think Penn State's all that good of a football team.
I don't think so either. I mean, you look at that game, though, like SMU, they have some players on that team. They were making plays, but you can't overcome pick sixes and interceptions inside the 10-yard line, and red zone mistakes and interceptions killed them. Had 2 of those gone away, you got a different game. That I think SMU would have been around third, fourth quarter.
I don't think Penn State's that good. I think the number 6 ranking is laughable. I didn't think Indiana was one of the 12 best teams. I don't think Penn State is one of the 12 best teams, but like we said earlier, they deserved to be there. They won the games they needed to win. Alabama fans and Ole Miss fans and South Carolina fans can bitch and moan all they want. The only one that I really think has an argument is South Carolina, because they got hosed against the LSU with the interception. Yeah. Completely hosed by the SEC refs, which been shit for 2 seasons now. Claimed to be the best conference in the nation. You got that shit for referee. But, Alabama's losing to teams they shouldn't lose to. Ole Miss losing to teams they shouldn't lose to. So Lane Kiffin can tweet all he wants. The athletic director for Alabama can tweet all he wants. They didn't win the games they needed to win. Now, even though I'm going to say this multiple times, I've already said it multiple times, I still think they're better teams than some of the teams they're in. Yeah. But I understand with a 12-team playoff, the games matter.
You can't go 11-1 and let a 9-3 team get in.
Exactly.
Moving right along. Ohio State knocked off Tennessee 42-17 in an all-out domination by Ohio State.
Yes, probably the most. I'm gonna include it with the Notre Dame Indiana game because that was dominating as well. But this one was the surprise. I thought Ohio State would win. Mentioned a couple of Ohio State buddies that I talked to throughout the week. I said, look, Tennessee's defensive line, you're going to hear a lot about it. I don't think they're the best defensive line. I think there are 4 or 5 better defensive lines in this playoff field, but they've got depth. They'll rotate 8, 9 guys in there that are very serviceable so they can keep dudes fresh. Yeah. The starting 4 for Georgia, Clemson, Texas, and Ohio State are all better than Tennessee starting 4. But what's different is they can bring in another 8 guy, or basically 8 guys behind that and still be somewhat serviceable. I did say if Ohio State was struggling with some offensive line injuries, if they can block Tennessee's front 4, they could throw on Tennessee all day long. And that's basically what they did. They threw on them early, and then that run game opened up, and Tennessee had no answers. Tennessee's offensive line couldn't block a soul. They were running a 3-down front on 5 Tennessee offensive linemen, and Tennessee still couldn't run the football. Still couldn't run the football. They couldn't throw. Nico looked terrible. Dude's getting $8 million a year in NIL. If I'm the dude paying that, I want my money back. Because honestly, this whole season, that dude hadn't looked like he's elite at all.
Well, on that first drive, he gets his helmet broken on like the third play. The offense couldn't do anything.
Nope.
Samson got hurt. Just nothing was going right.
Yes.
And you get right down to it. If you can't protect your quarterback and you can't get first downs on the ground, it doesn't really matter.
You're done.
You're done.
And I think Tennessee,
especially against Ohio State,
they're a better football team than they showed. I mean, they're not like a pushover. They're a good football team.
Yeah.
And they just played a dog shit game. Mm-hmm. Credit Ohio State for making that happen.
Right.
I think they face masked when they sacked Will Howard to get off the field. Really changed momentum as well because a couple plays later they scored a touchdown to the best wide receiver in the nation, Jeremiah Smith. But that shit happens. Yeah. You get the face mask, you got to stop him in the next drive.
It's 7-0. You get the ball back. Going 3 and out probably didn't help. Then going down 14-0 really hurt them, and they never really got
once they went down 14-0, I was kind of like, game's over. And my wife was sitting next to me watching the game. I said they got to score a touchdown on this drive to make it 14-7. They went 3 and out, and Ohio State gets the ball back, and I'm like, this game's over.
That's right.
Now they did make Ohio State punt, but then they went like X amount of downs and out again, and the next possession Ohio State scored again. Right. So. It was dominant. It was an embarrassment for Tennessee. It was an embarrassment for the SEC. Tennessee had shit tons of fans at the stadium, and it was an embarrassment that these people spent all this money to make some kind of statement to take over that stadium, and Ohio State just slapped their ass back to their grandma. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a real embarrassing game. I love it because I hate Tennessee, so it warms my heart to see their fans sad. But I did expect a little bit better of a showing from them.
I did too.
And, I'll mention it again about the teams deserving and the 9-3 teams that might be better overall teams. You're going to hear a lot of that. You did hear a lot of it Friday night. You heard a lot of it yesterday. Unfortunately, I think there's going to be some changes. I like the way they did it. I don't like the seeding that they did, but I like the way, like I said, Penn State lose 1 game. Mm-hmm. Indiana lose 1 game. You got to put them in. They're 11-1 for Christ's sake. You can't let a 9-3 team jump in. A 10-2 team, I can see jumping them. 9-3, no, but so many sports media personalities have called out the committee. I really think you're going to see some multiple lost teams get in over a worthy team that won their games, but you can probably see them getting smoked in the first round.
Well, in most years, you don't have so many 9-3 teams running around. They're 10-2s or they're 8-4s. The 9-3s are kind of in between, especially in the SEC. There were a lot of okay teams in the SEC this year. Yeah. Vanderbilt, South Carolina was having a better year. Mm-hmm. Every year is different. Next year might be completely different. There may be 2 or 3 dominant teams next year. This year there wasn't that many dominant.
I still think the mid teams in the SEC, like your mid teams, we're talking, LSU, Florida. I mean, Florida won their bowl game Thursday, beat the heck out of Tulane. I still think the mid teams in the SEC are probably going to beat your mid teams and even slightly above mid teams in other conferences. Mm-hmm. I still think LSU and Florida and South Carolina could probably, South Carolina could easily take out Indiana and probably Penn State too. Yeah. But, and then people had this Boise State. We're going to talk about this next. Penn State's going to go and play Boise State on December 31st.
At the Fiesta Bowl.
At the Fiesta Bowl in Arizona. And people don't think Boise State deserved a first-round bye. Well, maybe they didn't. Maybe they weren't the 3rd best team in the country. Maybe they were like the 10th or 12th. But you're going to have to change the rules. If you don't like the automatic seeding with a conference championship, then just do away with the damn conference championships. Because Clemson and Boise State both got, and Georgia, Georgia was getting in regardless, but Clemson got in because they won the conference championship. Right. Boise State basically got in because they won the conference championship.
Now, this game in particular, Penn State, Boise State, the only game that there's probably 2 or 3 games I've seen Boise State play this year, but the one game I do remember is they had Oregon on the brink early in the season. They're fresh. They've had a month to prepare for this game. Mm-hmm. I think they could beat Penn State.
I do too. Their defense is extremely aggressive. They're athletic. They get after the quarterback with the defensive line. They don't have to bring a ton of people to do it. Mm-hmm. That running game with Genty is great. The QB is good at running the football, and he can throw the football. Mm-hmm. They've got 2 or 3 wideouts that are very, very good wideouts. Probably better than any wideout Penn State has. And I know Penn State has the superstar tight end. Well, Boise State's got 3 guys that aren't that far off from this guy. Mm-hmm. And all 3 of those guys can do everything they want them to do. Yep. So I think Boise State's going to bring something offensively and defensively that's going to give Penn State some trouble. Penn State's not a quick strike team. They're a march the football down the field team. I think Boise State's going to give them all they can handle.
I agree.
I don't know what the spread is, but I'm picking Boise State, especially if they're the underdog.
That's right. And if you're in Phoenix area come New Year's Eve, well, you can see this game for $177. Mm-hmm. New Year's Day, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl kicks off at 1 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be Texas versus Arizona State.
In Atlanta, just a little bit up the road from where we're sitting right now. That'd be a cool game to go to.
Yes.
Wouldn't mind checking that out.
Yeah.
Because by the time it's over, the Rose Bowl, the freaking prima donnas of the freaking bowl series can't fucking stand the Rose Bowl. They're going to probably have throw in a second parade just because they think that they're special. So it'll start a little later. You home, watch the game. But I think this game is going to go down to Texas's way. Easy. I don't see Arizona State being able to hang with them. I know that Mike Farrell was tweeting, and that guy's, if you're watching this channel and you know who Mike Farrell is, he's probably one of the biggest jokes in all of college football. He thinks Arizona State's up there with Oregon and probably going to win the thing. I think Texas is going to beat them. I think Texas is going to beat them badly. Everyone's talking about that Scadaboo kid. And Arizona State's got some good wide receivers. Yeah. I think Texas is going to beat them, and it's going to be one of those games that people are tweeting, questioning whether Arizona State deserved to have a bye.
I think they're going to fare better than these other teams because I just don't know if Texas can do it back-to-back weeks. I don't know.
You might be right. I just think Arizona State, they're 4 because they won a conference championship. I think that talent level wise, this is an easier game.
Yeah, I agree.
Them.
I agree.
Maybe playing like a Kentucky or a Florida type deal.
1 o'clock start, New Year's Day.
Sark will have his guys ready, but last time Texas was in the Benz, they didn't play so well.
You don't know what you're going to get every. Okay, moving right along. Ohio State. Anything else we want to add to that? Not really.
No. I mean, this will be the game, in my opinion, the game of the second round. The rematch of Ohio State and Oregon at the Rose Bowl, a venue where both teams have played well historically.
Mm-hmm. So, to this matchup, Ohio State, Oregon, this should have been an automatic reseed after that week. You should be seeing this game right now.
No, I think, there's 4 teams from the Big Ten in it, 3 from the SEC. I would have liked to have seen them kind of work it where you weren't going to, I don't mind playing interconference, right. Okay? Like have Texas play Tennessee.
Yes.
But Georgia played Tennessee and Texas. Oregon and Ohio State played. Ohio State and Penn State played. Ohio State and Indiana played. I would have liked to have seen a seeding where these teams wouldn't play a rematch until maybe like the following round. But, it's an imperfect world. They got to do it some way. Yeah. There's 4 teams.
But again, Oregon's 1, Ohio State's 8.
Yes.
8's the lowest seed available right now, so 8 plays 1.
Yep.
Although that probably is, in all reality, it probably should be Notre Dame against them, and Ohio State should probably be forced to play Arizona State, and it should be Texas against Boise State and
Penn
Georgia
State
against Georgia. Something different.
Yeah, like it is what it is. I just think this is going to be a great game. This is going to be an all-out brawl. Ohio State, that was a dominant performance over Tennessee. Mm-hmm. If that Ohio State team plays this way for the next 3 games, no one's beating them. Will Howard looked like freaking Dan Marino. Yeah. All right, we know they've got killer wideouts. Damn tight end was making plays like dagger in the back of Tennessee type of. Yeah. Dude made 2 catches in the second half that were just absolute daggers. And the running game, Quinshon Judkins, I didn't think he was that great. Travion Henderson had a better game, in my opinion. I think he's more dynamic than Judkins. The defense played like that. Those front 4, those guys were phenomenal. And then, of course, that guy Ransom's coming in and making plays to knock down guys on screen plays and stuff like that. Yeah. I didn't even see the DBs. Yeah. Tennessee couldn't go down the damn field. Whenever they went down the field, it was that thrown at the guy's feet. Those slants, they were knocking passes down left and right on Nico. If this Ohio State team comes to play, they're beating everybody.
Yes.
They're beating the damn Chicago Bears, right? I know there's going to be people like, no way. It's a joke, dude. Oregon, they know Ohio State's coming for them, for revenge. I don't think Oregon's got what it takes. I don't think Oregon's ready for what's about to happen.
We'll find out.
They've got some playmakers. Yeah. They got a hell of a quarterback, and they get chunk plays, explosive plays. They let up a lot of points to Penn State. It's a Big Ten championship game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be tough.
They're about to get up on them early and put them away. If not, they're going to have a long fight ahead of them. At 8:45, New Year's Day, me and you will be watching this game. Notre Dame versus Georgia.
Travesty.
Yes. I remember
7:30.
Yeah.
7:30.
Yeah. I remember when we were in our prime and we were actually there.
Yeah. We were younger and we were full of lots of...
alcohol.
Yes. Easier when you're there, obviously. You get the next day off.
Yes.
They played in this game. The last 2 times Georgia's played in this game, I was thinking, it's starting almost 9 o'clock. I got work tomorrow. But it's all because of the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl would not move on that 5 o'clock kickoff when they had them join the playoff, which, they deserve to be in the playoff. They're one of the biggest bowl games. I've never liked the Rose Bowl as a bowl. There's something about it I just don't like it. I know people are going to be like, you're crazy. I mean, the stadium's great. All right, not knocking the stadium.
It's a beautiful game to watch.
Yes, the surrounding area is beautiful. I don't like that game. And I have a huge problem with them thinking they're the best bowl in town so they can call the shots. They wouldn't move off their start time, which causes Sugar Bowl to start way freaking late. It's going to get over at 2 a.m. Like I said, when you're there, it's better. And I'm probably sounding like a grumpy old man right now, but I am a grumpy old man. I said 7:30. But this game's going to be a good game. Notre Dame's a running football team. I mentioned earlier I don't really see tight ends or wide receivers of old on this team. I think Leonard's a good passer. I think he's a good runner. I don't think he'll be the best kind of runner that Georgia's faced this year. Yeah. But I think Notre Dame's strengths kind of play into Georgia's strengths, stopping the run. But Notre Dame's really good at the run game. Notre Dame's defense has excellent front seven. We'll see. I think it'll be up to Notre Dame's defense and Georgia's offense. They got a backup quarterback that I'm not real confident in, that he's going to be able to run that offense well enough, especially with the down-the-field throws, the over-the-middle throws that Carson Beck made hay on, those over-the-middle 15 to 20-yard passes. I don't see this kid making those plays. I think it's going to be a real tough game for Georgia. That defense has got to come to play. Notre Dame's got to come to play. Yeah. It ain't going to be an easy cakewalk for them either. This is going to be probably the toughest game kind of next to, they're all going to be. Penn State, Boise State's going to be a tough knockout, drag-out. I just think that the Ohio State-Oregon game is going to take the cake. Yeah. But this could be a good game.
There's a lot of unknowns on that field right now. Kirby, when he has a month to prepare, tends to do very well.
Yes, and I have a feeling they kind of saw happening Friday what happened Friday, and they're more preparing for Notre Dame than they were Indiana.
Yes.
I kind of feel that Georgia's defense athletically, with the linebackers especially, and the defensive end, Michael Williams, will be able to get pressure on Leonard. I thought Indiana got to him. He was doing a lot of getting hit and throwing it low, and his guys were catching it right off the ground. I kind of think that luck's not going to happen every one of these games. Yeah. They're going to have to push the ball down the field, but Georgia's going to have to do that as well. Yeah. I don't know whether this kid, Gunnar Stockton, can do it. He's going to run the football because that's the kind of guy he is. I just don't know how this one's going to go. I feel I know how the other one's going to play out. I don't know how this one's going to go because, like you said, the unknowns. Kirby, yes, when he's a month to prepare, he's like Saban. It's tough to beat him. But they're playing a backup QB who wasn't even the backup last year. He was the third string guy to the kid that Vandegrift ended up bailing and going to Kentucky.
We'll find out.
Yeah,
rather quickly.
Caesars Super, so they're changing the name of these things.
It's a Superdome.
It's always been a Superdome. It used to be the New Orleans Superdome.
No.
Yeah, it was great. Look, I'm telling you, the Sugar Bowl, fun as hell. Going down there New Year's Eve on Bourbon Street, that's a fun time. Like the couple of days leading up to it. If you can leave like Saturday or Sunday, great time. It's gonna be a great time. I had a blast when I went there. Great time. The only one of these bowl games I've not been to is the damn Rose Bowl.
Did you go to the Fiesta Bowl?
I did go to the Fiesta Bowl. It was Oklahoma State. Jordan Black. It was Blackman.
Oh.
Blackman stole the show.
Oh.
Who's, he smoked too much weed in the NFL. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of other bowls as well that are worthy of talking about. That'll be this coming week.
Yeah. That was just the playoff deals,
Let's check out some of these bowl games.
Let's see if I can pull it up real quick.
I am number 4 out of 120 people in our pool. Top 10 people get money, so I am in the money realm at the moment. Let's talk about some of the more notable ones, some of the decent ones.
Scroll down.
Florida already won these.
Let's see. And you got 2 tomorrow. You got the Idaho Potato Bowl.
Time, 2:30 afternoon games.
Yeah. Pittsburgh at Toledo, Rutgers, Kansas State.
Oklahoma, they get a bowl game. Georgia Tech at Vandy Friday at 3:30. That'd be a good game. 2 teams that basically run same style of offense. USC, A&M. Interested to see how that one goes. 10:30 at night.
It's Las Vegas, so it's really 8:30 start.
Still, I mean, what day is that? It's Friday night.
Friday night, man. Friday night.
I'll stay up and watch that game.
Fly out, check it out. Let's see, next Saturday, what kind of matchups? We got Iowa State at Miami.
And Cam Ward is playing in the game, so I expect Miami to win that one.
You can get a ticket for $39. Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Snoop Dogg, Arizona Bowl.
Yeah. You got BYU at Colorado.
That'd be a good game. 7:30. What day is that?
Saturday.
That's next Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. I'm watching that game.
Yeah. Then you got Louisiana Tech at Army. I'd like to see a better matchup there. I don't know.
Yep. I think Shedeur Sanders and Hunter are both playing.
Yeah.
You got Missouri at Iowa, a battle again of the mid-conference teams in the Big Ten and the SEC. These are the games that the SEC wins 8 times out of 10. So I tend to pay attention to these type of games. You got another one here. Alabama Alabama versus Michigan in Tampa. So that used to be the Outback Bowl.
Yeah.
I think Alabama's going to absolutely destroy Michigan.
It's a bad matchup.
It is, and I know some of Michigan's top guys have bailed. I know Alabama's had a lot of guys in the portal, but I haven't seen any of their main guys bail.
Louisville, Washington, tickets as low as $5
in
for
El
Tony
Paso. It's got to be warm there, right?
Yeah.
$5.
You would think.
South Carolina, Illinois, a good matchup. Number 15, South Carolina at 20, Illinois in the Capital One Bowl in Orlando. I refuse to call it these sponsor names anymore. But again, you've got another SEC Big Ten matchup. We'll see how that one goes.
Yeah.
These are for all the SEC people that were all the anti-SEC people that I'm pay attention to the games. There's a reason why you hate the SEC. Yeah.
Then you got Duke is at Ole Miss Thursday, January 2nd.
I'm interested who Ole Miss even has left on the roster to play that game.
Yeah. Duke's Mayo Bowl.
I love the Duke's Mayo Bowl. I like to see the dude get doused with a big-ass thing of mayonnaise.
Here's the game in Nassau. Buffalo at Liberty at 11 o'clock. Bahamas Bowl presented by Atlas Resorts.
That'd be kind of cool.
Atlantis Resorts. Yeah, go stay at Atlantis and drink some cold beers and some Mai Tais or something. Let's see.
Thursday night, that will be the winner of the Notre Dame versus Georgia game. Will play the winner of the Penn State Boise State game on Thursday night, 7:30 in Miami at the Orange Bowl. And then Friday, the winner of Texas Arizona State will play the winner of Oregon versus Ohio State in Arlington and Dallas Jerry World at the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah. And then the national championship
is Monday the 20th.
Yeah.
So really, with these games, it's an extra 2 weeks.
Yeah. So
not even really.
Yeah.
So far, good first round of playoffs. First 12-team expanded playoff. I thought it was a good round. You probably should have known, if you pay attention to college football, that you were going to see some blowouts and some teams are unevenly matched. That's going to happen. That happened in the damn 4-team playoffs.
It would just been nice to have had at least one of those games been more of a back and forth for 4 quarters. You would have a lot less chirping now.
Yes, I mean, hell, we saw a national championship game 2 years ago where Georgia beat the shit out of TCU. Was it 65-10?
Sometimes you get bad matchups. Sometimes it's just the way it goes, and games get out of hand.
These giant blowouts happen when there was a 4-team playoff. So, I mean, let's just be thankful we get more college football.
That's right.
So I think it's positive.
That is definitely a positive. And if your team's still alive, it's a good thing.
Yep.
All right. Well, you guys have a good one. We'll do it again next week.
See ya.